Back to TB Sports 27. It is time for the Week 16 wrap-up show, and this may be one of the biggest wrap-up shows as we enter into Week 17. We saw a lot of football this past week, and we're going to see where all the records, where all the standings match up, and who is going to be fighting for a post-season spot. Thank you for tuning in. Follow on Twitch, subscribe, and thumbs up on YouTube, and check us out at patreon.com/TB Sports 27. All right, guys, let's look at how all the scores shaped up in Week 16, and then we're going to look at what games we want to see in Week 17. So here we go. These two teams out of the playoffs, but it's a slight win. The Pittsburgh Sting getting the 3-point win over the North Florida Cheetahs. This one we just saw with you guys. Monday Night Football, Portland defeating Mexico City. Of course, you saw Brooklyn slide by the Aviators in our computer stream, and the Armadillos over the Lancers in overtime. We also streamed this one with you. The St. Louis Rhinos got the win. Look at how tightly contested all these ball games are. London, the Monarchs. There you can be, everyone's looking at them as a championship team, blowing out the Houston Voyagers. So they made the change to Troy Aikman. Has not quite worked out for him just yet. London Bulldogs, their postseason dreams are probably going to be about shattered, and the Dirty Birds still have an outside shot. The New York Shamrocks got a win over the Salt Lake City Elks, so they're still alive. The Demons with a victory. They could still be alive as well. They take down the New England Nightmare. Go check out this one in the archives. Toronto, Sacramento, 51-45. Las Vegas, the Firebirds getting a win over the San Diego Aftershocks. And with that, that is going to end the Aftershock season. A bit of a disappointment, I would say, for Warren Moon, who's won 2 league championships before, coming into this new league, and to go out with a whimper here. The Aftershocks did not make a lot of noise here. The LA Kiss, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, they just survived Dublin, a big fight from the Celtic Tigers. That might end the Celtic Tigers season right there. That was a very tightly contested contest. This one is up right now on Patreon, patreon.com/TBSports27, the shootout between Philadelphia and Dallas. Go check that out right now. In the game that was flexed out of the Monday night position, the Tennessee Oilers get the win over the Chicago Cougars, and the Chicago Wolverines finally end the losing streak over the Orlando Wizards. So, wow. That was Week 16. So now let's sit here and take a look at Matt Patricia's got a trophy behind him. So I wonder if the Golden Eagles win the championship or something before. I don't know. Let's look at the standings and what we got. So we'll take it conference by conference. So here in the American, you got the Armadillos, who are sitting in first place. They have not quite clinched the number 1 seed yet. They got the Monarchs on their toes, so that's interesting. There's still the LA Kiss that could win, and a loss for the Monarchs or the Armadillos, and that could move the LA Kiss into a number 1 seed. So we maybe got to look at these 3 teams streaming some of their games. The Lancers, they really can't improve their position much except maybe getting a home game in the wild card. The Huskies have clinched, and then you're pretty much looking at these final teams here between Sacramento, Dublin, the Shamrocks, and the Brooklyn Beats. Whoever wins, so you're looking at maybe... We got to look at, that's a lot of games to stream because these 3, I guess we'll see who's playing each other, but I guess we stream the Redwoods first, and if the Redwoods win, then they clinch the postseason because nobody can catch them, but if the Redwoods lose, then I guess we just go down the list here. So it's pretty much down to Austin, London, and Los Angeles for your top-seeded buys, Oklahoma City and the Huskies right there. And then the final playoff spot up for grabs between Sacramento, Dublin, New York, and Brooklyn, with, unfortunately for the London Bulldogs, the Tennessee Oilers, the Pittsburgh Sting, the Houston Voyagers, the North Florida Cheetahs, the New England Nightmare and Salt Lake City Elks, they are out of the postseason. Here in the National Conference, and there's still a lot of spots up for grabs. You see the Lumberjacks, they've wrapped it up. Number 1 seed, bar none, they're in there. Now, the Golden Eagles, I had pretty much said that they had wrapped up now, what is X and what is Y? It doesn't tell you. I think Y is division, right? And X is wild card, I think, with Z being the top seed. So I guess this division is still up for grabs. I was talking about how it was pretty much Mexico City and Portland as the number 1 and number 2 team no matter what, but now you got to look at it. I think if they lose, there's a possibility either the Rhinos or the Wolverines, because these are all National North teams. They could get one of those top spots. I didn't put that together. So that was even a bigger loss for Mexico City. So a lot to look out there. Of course, there's still the West and the North, and then you have to think there's going to be your 2 wild card teams. So there's going to be no wild card opportunities as there's 3 North teams that have made it. So it's down to the South and the East, which is going to be down to the Tampa Bay Mutiny, the Dallas Desperados, the Atlanta Dirty Birds, the Columbus Aviators. The Benjamins cannot make it because even if they lose, they're at 9-7. So there will be no, and the West, I don't think anyone can slip in from the West. So the Demons are out of it as well. We said goodbye to the Aftershocks. You can see the other teams down the list here. So it is going to be for these last 2 spots down to the division: the Mutiny, the Desperados, the Dirty Birds, or the Aviators are going to get one of those 2 final spots. Let's look at the Week 17 schedule and see what games we're going to play with you, because there's a lot of games that have playoff hopes and dreams on the line. So we'll decide what ones we want to do. So I mean, that's a pretty big one right there. Let me see. There's no primetime game, right, on the list. There's a Sunday night game, but both Dublin and London are out of it, so there's no point in streaming that one. They are both. Actually, Dublin still has outside shot, don't they? Let's look here. We got Tampa Bay and Chicago. I think absolutely we have to do that game, and that would probably be the game we do right now, because we're going to do one Week 17 game, and that's one of them on the list. Huskies have already clinched, as has the Nightmare, so we don't need to do that. This is a non-game. I think this is an absolute. This could determine who gets that first-round bye in the postseason, Mexico City and the St. Louis Rhinos. So we got those 2 games. Cougars and Wizards, we don't need. Aviators, we got to check them out because they're fighting for a playoff spot against the Egyptians, as are the Shamrocks here. The Monarchs and the Beats. The Beats still looking for a playoff spot. The Desperados. Wow, there's a lot of games here where the playoffs could be decided. Maybe we stream some of them, play some of them. Let's commit to at least playing 4, and then maybe depending on how things shape out, we stream some of the other ones. So we're definitely going to do Wolverines and Mutiny. That is a must play. We're going to do Golden Eagles and Rhinos here. That is also a must play. We're going to play the Aviators game. We'll come back and see if we decide if we want to stream us playing the Shamrocks or not. Maybe that's a computer game, and same thing here. I think this Desperados game and the Firebirds is a must stream as well. Philly, we said they were out of it, right? And then this game right here, I think, is a must do between the Dirty Birds and Salt Lake City. This one has no meaning to it. This one also has no meaning to it. LA and Oklahoma City, I think, could have some meaning as far as playoff positioning. And then this game is for the Redwoods. So here's what I propose we do. So I say we do Tampa Bay, Chicago, like us playing it. We will do Mexico City and St. Louis. We will do Aviators, Egyptians. And then we will do Dallas and Vegas. and then we will come down here and do the Redwoods game. And if the Redwoods win, we know they clinch. If they lose, we'll start going down the list and playing the other possible games until we get someone that would qualify. So I think that's a pretty good look at it. So we can get a bunch of games here, Week 17, guys. It's going to start right now. Thanks for tuning in. This was the recap show here in the RXFL. We'll go division by division real quick just to give you a look here at the Monarchs. They're pretty much in the mix. Now, let me look at the Beats real quick. Are they even... they are in contention, so that's where it comes down to. If the Redwoods lose, then I think we look at those Celtic Tiger, Shamrock, and Beats games, and either we stream them, we do another 3 hour and let the computer play, or we play them. But I think we just do that Redwoods game to see who wins out there. In the South, the Armadillos, they're pretty much... nothing can change there. In the East, again, you're just looking at wild card spots right here. And in the American West, you're looking at the Redwoods of trying to get that last spot. In the North, this is where things are interesting because I had originally talked a lot about, and that's my mistake, saying that Mexico City pretty much they're in there, no matter what happens in that game with the Lumberjacks. But you got to look at it, and boy, oh boy, you got a really strong division right here, all looking for first place in the North between St. Louis, your Chicago teams, and then poor Mexico City, who's... Maybe we can just call this division the Central, because, St. Louis is kind of, I don't know. We'll have to look at a map. In the South, this is where it's up for grabs between the Mutiny and the Dirty Birds. 2 big games there. And in the East, it's alive between the Aviators and the Desperados. Yeah, no chance for the Philadelphia Benjamins. Even if the Desperados lose, Benjamins can't catch them. All right, guys, we got Tampa Bay and Chicago, Wolverines, Mutiny coming up next. And actually, this will determine whether or not we even have to play that Dirty Birds game. Because here's how it shapes out. If it's a victory, I think a lot's going to determine in this game. We just got to play them, I think, starting with the most importance and just go down the list. If the Mutiny win, that's it. The Dirty Birds, there's no chance. They are eliminated from postseason contention with a Mutiny win. So if they win, we don't got to do the Dirty Birds game. But if the Wolverines win, it gets really interesting because that maybe gives them a possible bye after they lost 5 in a row when they had their big start to the season. But if the Wolverines lose, they're a wild card team, bar none. But it's it's going to be interesting, guys. Do come back. If you're watching on Twitch, we're going to be right back here with you. We're going to do this whole game in full. We're going to go down the list and the games that have playoff importance. Pretty much the playoffs are starting right now. It's going to be number 7 versus number 8, 10 and 5 versus 9 and 6. If you're watching on Twitch, it's coming your way in a couple of minutes. If you're watching on YouTube, the next 2 days and most of the month of September here is going to be finishing up the RXFL. Let's get ready for it. The Creamsicle, the Tampa Bay Mutiny, and the Chicago Wolverines. Chicago, the former Ann Arbor Annihilators, the Tampa Bay Mutiny, the former Tampa Bay Vipers, toe-to-toe, Steve Young, Joe Theismann. Week 17, the fight for the playoffs begins next.